welcome to Pilates. Let's get going. I'm gonna crawl my way to my mats. I don't know why, I'm not out in the rain, but whenever it rains, I just feel like there's I'm lethargic for some silly reason. But anyways, we are doing Pilates and I'm gonna get a lot of energy right now with breathing in. Exhale out through the mouth. Inhale through the nose. Exhale out through the mouth. So let's talk about some shoulder blade movements today. We always bring attention to our core, our abdominals, and our spine muscles because it's kind of what the exercises target, but also to bring special attention to our shoulder blades. We can't have a neutral spine if our shoulder blades are separated from each other. So we want to think about creating a little bit of tension between those shoulder blades. So inhale. And now on the exhale, we're going to round the spine. Here we intentionally separate the shoulder blades and roll on down. Let's go ahead and imprint the lower back. Take our arms above the shoulders. Good. And on the inhale, you're going to reach the arms toward the ceiling by separating your shoulder blades, protracting the shoulder blades. My head is still on the ground. The only thing that's left the ground are my shoulder blades. And then on the exhale, I press my shoulder blades down into the mat and gently squeeze them towards each other. Inhale, protraction. Exhale, retraction. Inhale, exhale. My arms are straight, and it looks like I'm straightening them further because they're going closer to the ceiling, but really it's just motion of my shoulder blades and the fact that they're attached to my arms. Okay, last time, find your neutral. Good. And from here, we're gonna bring our legs to tabletop. I actually did not mean to lower my hands, but since I did, feel free to keep your hands here pressing into the floor to help stabilize the imprint. If you'd like to continue working your shoulders, you can bring them back up. As we tap it out, exhale, inhale. Right now, we're trying to keep our shoulder blades in neutral. There might be a tendency to retract them, but we're trying to keep it in neutral. Exhale to lower, knees stay at 90 degrees. Inhale to lift, exhale. The challenge comes with keeping the shoulder blades at neutral position when we move the arms over our head. Let's do same side for now. So as the front leg goes down, the front arm reaches away from the leg and then the back. And you don't need to take your arms all the way to the floor, but move slowly enough so that as you're moving the arms, you can feel if the shoulder blades start sliding along your mat. Maintain the imprint, draw the abdominals down and in. So you should be able to move your arms a certain range of motion without disturbing the shoulder blades. At a certain point, if you reach your arms all the way to the floor, yeah, my rib cage kind of pops up. My rib cage also moves my shoulder blades. All right. I want to try a couple opposites. So front knee, back arm, just to see if that feels odd or more of a balance challenge or more coordination challenge. Or maybe feels equally same as same side. I think it's called cis and trans. They even call that Pilates. Same side in anatomy. Opposite side. All right, I'm going to lower both legs, and it is a little more challenging to lower both legs at the same time and maintain imprint, so you may want to put your hands back down by the hips and make sure that imprint stays there. You don't need to take your toes all the way to the ground. You go halfway down. If you want to try it, arms straight over the shoulders, staying there, or final version, which is a little challenging for a warm-up, where you reach the arms away from the legs. Okay, we're not looking to bring the arms too close to the floor. Maintain neutral rib cage, neutral scapula, imprinted lower back. Let's do one more. All right, now we can bring the hands down, drop the heels, place the feet on the floor, hip distance apart. Nod the chin, exhale, roll up, head, neck, and shoulder blades. Holding for an inhale, exhale, roll down. Back to a little bit more familiar territory here. Exhale, inhale. Good, keep crunching. Inhale to hold, which is a little challenging. So it's a little challenging to hold because we're engaging our abs as we inhale, which is when we want to relax the belly and let the air fill the belly. Couple more. Exhale. Inhale here. But what we're doing is practicing to breathe in and out while keeping the abdominals contracted. Okay, time for hundreds. Hopefully, oh no, wait, we gotta do our shoulder bridge, sorry. Roll up into your shoulder bridge. Stretch those hip flexors. This is why I remember the shoulder bridge, is because my hip flexors desperately need stretching. Inhale, and then exhale. Slowly roll down one vertebra at a time. Inhale, tailbone on the floor. Exhale, imprint. So for the shoulder bridge or the hip bridge, we start in neutral spine position. This is neutral again. Rolling down. And neutral means there's a small space under your lower back, tailbone on the floor. Exhale, imprints. Tailbone comes off the floor, sequentially roll up. Reach those knees away from the shoulders. Squeezing the glutes, squeezing the abs as we roll down. So even as we're rolling down, the glutes and abs will stay engaged until the tailbone hits the floor. So now we're going to do our hundreds. Hundreds are pumping the arms. You can have your legs in tabletop, knees and feet together. Legs straight, knees and feet together. On the diagonal, knees and feet together. All right, rolling up, head, neck, and shoulders up. Look at your kneecaps and pump. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 10. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Once again, practicing how to inhale while keeping our abs engaged. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. There's 50. Inhale. Exhale. 60. Inhale. Exhale. 70. Inhale. Exhale. 80. Inhale. Exhale. 90. Last 10. Exhale. Good. On the last one, crunch a little higher and then relax. You don't have to crunch a little higher. It's just a little finale thing. Lift. I see in some people's classes. All right, so time to stretch the abdominals and at the same time work our spine muscles. For our first spine extension of the day, we're going to keep the forearms on the ground. Inhale. Lift the top part of your rib cage, chin tucked, head and neck aligned with the spine. Exhale, release. Inhale. I know it's not like exactly possible to lift the head and chest off the ground at exactly the same time. Your head probably comes up first a little bit. But what you really want to do is keep the chin slightly tucked, the back of the neck nice and lengthened, so that you know for certain your head and neck is aligned with your spine. Eye gaze on the floor. So as you continue to do this, you can put less and less pressure into the forearm. So maybe your first one, you put a lot of pressure on the forearm, but now it's like you're barely putting any pressure. And maybe the next few, we're just gonna, as we lift the chest, we're gonna sort of lock our shoulder blades in position and lift the chest and arms. Everything comes up. I'm not doing anything else with my shoulder blades other than not letting them separate from each other, because see, if I lift up like this and my forearms stay on the ground, my shoulder blades have to separate a little bit. So here, if you have to, you can squeeze your shoulder blades a little bit together just to really reinforce the fact that your arms are coming off the ground. And you're gonna feel a little more in your spine. Your spine muscles are doing a little more work when it lifts also the weight of your arms off the ground. Last two here. Anytime we do spine movements, feel free to modify or do as many as you like and go into your stretch here at any time. You really don't want to stress out the spine too much. So here, shoulder blades are definitely separated. So we're going to do this thing called a scapula push-up. A push-up is basically when your chest lowers to the ground. A scapula push-up is when your chest lowers to the ground, but not because your arms bent, but because your shoulder blades moved. So I have my knees underneath my hips, so they're separated. My wrists are underneath my shoulders, okay? So what I'm doing is I'm gonna feel my spine kind of fall through between my shoulder blades, and my shoulder blades slide toward each other. And then I'm gonna press into the floor and feel my shoulder blades separate from each other because I'm pushing up through that space between my shoulder blades. Let me go back to profile here. So the emphasis here is not on bending or straightening the arm. The arm can stay locked. We want to try to keep our spine in neutral, so flat back. Your thigh bones aren't going to do anything because they don't have a joint in between. Sometimes I see this where the elbows are bending, but think of shoulder blade movement. Shoulder blades slide towards each other, shoulder blades slide away from each other. The pushing away generally is pretty easy, or it's easier than when we retract the shoulder blades. And that's normal because our tendency is usually to slouch and separate the shoulder blades. All right. Now we're going to go into a plank. Let's actually just give our wrists a break and come into our elbows. Ideally, when we're in the plank, we're going to be in neutral shoulder blades. If you're not sure what that means, you could go all the way extreme, drop between, protract. So here's my more shoulder blade movement on my elbows. And I find right what's in between the two. Extend the leg, extend the leg. You can do a full plank like this. And once again, practice your shoulder blade movement. It's a little easier to practice shoulder blade movement when you're on your elbows. Why? Because there's no way you can bend your elbows anymore. Your elbows are already bent. So you can come to your knees, shoulder blades together, shoulder blades apart. All right, it's getting a little tiring to do shoulder blades though, so let's just do the plank for a couple more breaths. Inhale, eye gaze on your thumbs, exhale, squeeze your abs, glutes, and quads. Inhale, and exhale. Good. Whew. That was actually really tiring on those shoulder blades. Come into our seated position for half rollback. Do some arm and leg variations today. So here we are sitting tall. Exhale. Rolling halfway back with a curved spine. Anchor those toes to the floor. Inhale to lengthen the spine or maintain a C curve. That's okay. When you're in the C curve or the round spine, your shoulder blades will separate. There you go. It has to. Now, when you come into your neutral, just feel your shoulder blades slide together a little bit. Like I said at the beginning of class, we don't often think about our shoulder blades. It has a huge effect on our posture, though. It's just not something we really think about. And sometimes people's shoulder blades have frozen in place, right? If they've been sitting protracted for a really long time, they kind of stay protracted for some people. So once again, just increasing awareness. All right, let's add some arm movement here. So we'll sweep the front arm down and make a nice big circle. If you've ever like done swimming like this, it's kind of the motion we're doing. As we go back, we're doing like our freestyle stroke there. Exhale, inhale. You can make the circle as big as you like. Find what's challenging. Find what feels good for your shoulders. Exhale here, use your breath. You can look back at your hands if it doesn't strain your neck. There's a little rotation going on here. That's okay. Rotation. We're trying not to let the feet pop off the floor. So if you reach so far back that your feet pop off the floor, that's kind of taking the work out of your abs. Let's try a couple, probably getting fatigued. Let's try a couple circling the other direction. So instead of going down, we're going up. And by the way, as we circle, the other arm, try not to bring it across the body. Try to keep it directly in front of the shoulder. So we're going to go up and around. This feels a little different, actually. Exhale here. Inhale. My other arm stays right in place, does not move. Exhale. Do one more on each side, really thinking about keeping the toes heavy on the floor. Lots to think about. Breathe. Exhale. We are going to roll down. And now we're going to do the full roll up. Some leg variations. So I've done from bent knee, shoot out the straights. I've done single knee, extend to straight. And of course, I've done the original roll up, which is keeping the heels heavy on the ground. So I'm just going to do the single leg variation, but off the ground. If there's a variation that you like to do, go for it. So for the roll up, engage the abs, keep the rib cage down, imprinted lower back. We're going to start with our arms by the ears. Inhale, arms reach the ceiling. I'm flexing my feet because I really want to anchor the heels down. So here I'm inhaling, reaching the arms up and then toward the toes. I'm lifting the head, neck, and shoulders. Okay, here obviously I cannot sit up unless I really use my abs, use momentum, or maybe get a little assistance with my bent knee shooting straight. So exhale, straighten the leg, a little speed, okay? I still feel my abs. And then stretch. Oh, this feels so good. Our hamstrings are being stretched. If you reach your toes, grab it. If you don't, you can still pull your toes back to feel calves and hamstrings. And then rolling down slowly. Inhale. Exhale here. Placing the spine down one vertebra at a time. Pull the other heel in. Inhale, arms, head, shoulder blades come up. Exhale, straighten the leg. Let's make it a little more flowy here. The first one, I explained it too much. I'm keeping both my heels anchored as I roll down here. When my head comes back, then I pull my knee in. Inhale, arms, head, shoulders. Exhale, straighten and dive. Inhale, start to roll back. Exhale. If you want to lift your arms a little higher during the roll down, creates a little more challenge, but make sure those heels stay on the ground. You don't want to increase challenge to your abs by lifting the arms higher if your heels can't maintain their anchor point. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more time on each side. So I'm bending the front leg. Nice flow here. My exhale takes me through the dive towards my feet. Inhale here. Exhale, roll down. Last one. Inhale first. The exhale takes you all the way down to the mat, right? And inhale to lift the arms, head, shoulder blades. Exhale. Still exhaling. course, you can breathe extra times and breathe however you like. I'm just cueing the version that STOTT Pilates recommends will help enhance your movements. Adjust your pants, please. All right, so that was our roll-up, and now we're going to go into our abdominal series. I know our abs are a little fatigued. A little bit of change on the abdominal series here. I'm going to start with my feet on the ground, and I'm going to start immediately with my hands behind my head. Not to yank on my head or anything. I'm just going to support the neck. I'm going to lift up to center. I'm feeling that both shoulder blades are off the ground. I'm then rotating, making sure this front shoulder blade is still off the ground. A very slight rotation. Back to center and down. Exhale, lift. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. You can alternate the breath, and by the way, there is no right or wrong way of breathing because you could inhale to lift and then exhale to rotate. Okay, and if that feels better for you, do it. And then you would inhale here to center and exhale to lower. As long as you are alternating your breath, I'm good. Center, twist and lift. Center, lower. You also have the option to keep the feet down. So notice that I'm twisting here and I haven't lifted a leg. Okay? And then the next option, let's go through this one more time, is to lift the leg straight. So we come up to center, twist. Extend that leg, quad straight, hamstring, maybe a little stretch. Return, lower the leg, and down. Lift. Twist and kick. Can kick. Here, back to center, and lower. 2 more times of that version, and feel free to keep the knees bent. Feel free to keep the feet on the ground. Still breathing. Ab series basically involves, the rectus abdominis, lifting here, whether you add obliques or lift straight to center. This is the last one here. And then from here, lift, tabletop, tabletop. Extend one leg out while you gently press the thigh away. And as I'm gently pressing the thigh away, I'm pulling this knee in. So a little bit of a sort of arm wrestling battle here. Inhale, switch, exhale, gentle press. Inhale, switch, press. You can lift your leg high on the diagonal. So this doesn't matter where your straight leg is. Let's work on the imprint. But the lower the leg, the more challenging. And the more you push on your leg and the more you resist, the more challenge to the abs. I get that your neck could be fatigued too. So believe it or not, even with my head on the ground, as I push into the thigh and my thigh pulls towards my head, I'm feeling a lot more abs even with my head down. So this is a variation of the single leg stretch. Instead of hugging your knee in, which if you do that now, you're like, wow, that's so easy. Anytime I do single leg stretch, you can do either version. I don't often do this version though, it's really hard. Press away. All right, we've already done our obliques, right? We started with it, so we're gonna do double leg stretch. Head can be down. Head, neck, and shoulders can be down as you extend the arms and legs to any diagonal that challenges you. Or head, neck, and shoulders can be up as you extend the legs to any diagonal that challenges you. Right now I'm doing with my toes pointed. Let's try 4 with the feet flexed, pushing the heels out. So flex here, push the heels out, pull in, push the heels out. See if you feel a little more calf stretch, a little more quad extension. Last one. Good. All right, so pointing and flexing, a lot of ankle movements, a little bit more coordination challenge. We're gonna try that with the scissors. So we're gonna do pointed 4. I'm just demonstrating real fast. I'm not even straightening my legs. 4, 3, 2, 1, flex. 4, 3, 2, 1, point. 4, 3, 2. We'll go through 2 rounds of 4s, so that'd be 16 total. And hopefully our abs will not hate us. All right, coming into your scissors. Pointed for 4, 3, 2, 1, and flex. 3, 2, 1, and point. 3, 2, 1, and flex. 3, 2, we're done. Legs up and bend and it wasn't so bad. I feel like we could have done another round. Right? No? Okay. Let's flip over. Anytime you want to take a water break, take it. I'm not taking water breaks, but that doesn't mean you cannot. Let's do our second spine exercise of the day. We're back to our W position. This time as I lift and the arms come up, I'm going to extend it out. You can either go Y or a little wider to the T, okay? So this is Y to the corner, T to the side. And then pull back into the W before you lower. Lots of shoulder blades again, right? As I lift, maybe my shoulder blades haven't moved. But as I reach into the Y, I'm gonna squeeze my shoulder blades a little together. If I reach into the T, I'm gonna try to squeeze my shoulder blades together. As I pull my elbows back in for the W, I might squeeze my shoulder blades together a little more, as much as I can, and then relax. Good. Inhale, exhale, reach. Inhale, pull in, exhale, lower. Tops of the feet stay on the mat for now. Inhale, lift. Exhale, reach. Shoulder blades. Inhale, return. Shoulder blades. Exhale, lower. Only if you want to. It's just like you get a little extra lift of the body, a little extra openness of the chest as you squeeze your shoulder blades together, a little extra work in the back side, your postural muscles. Inhale, exhale. And the reason I'm talking about shoulder blades here as well is sometimes when we lift here and I reach my arms without thinking about my shoulder blades, what happens is I reach and I kind of go lower to the floor. But if I think about reaching as I squeeze my shoulder blades, my arms actually go out maybe a little higher or at least the same height as my shoulders. Okay? Gravity always wants to pull us down. Let's do 2 more times or 1 more, your choice. Go back into the stretch when you're ready. So gravity always wants to pull us down. Even here, as I reach my arms out, I have a tendency to want to reach lower instead of straight out parallel or a little higher. Pull it back in, return, push yourself up, separate the shoulder blades, round the spine, take your stretch. Okay, we're gonna do some lower abdominal exercises. This does involve the rollover. If that does not feel comfortable for you, you can keep your hips on the floor. You also can lift your legs higher to the ceiling without it going over your head. All right, so angles. Higher angle, less work on the obliques, the abdominals because of the imprints. And then you reach towards your head. Kind of pulls my tailbone up. The weight of your legs, if I use all momentum, if I kicked out here and then swung it over here, I didn't have to use my abs that much. I had all this momentum just swinging the weight of my legs over, just pulled my butt off the ground. So when you do this exercise, use a little bit of momentum, but not too much. You can tell if you're not feeling your abs at all. Exhale here, inhale, exhale. Exhale, inhale the knee bend, exhale. Palms press into the floor, use those triceps. You can reach lower, pull it in. You can reach more towards your head, but know that if you make a beeline toward the floor, it might just be the weight of your legs pulling your butt off the ground. You gotta pick the angle that works your abs the most. Again, don't be afraid to use the arms. Exhale, inhale, exhale. Exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. When I lift my butt off the ground, I'm not trying to just let gravity take a hold and drop it. I don't know if you can tell, but here I'm really using my arms. I'm really pressing into the floor. I'm really engaging my abs so I roll up slowly and roll down slowly. Now I'm going to show you where I release my abs and don't even attempt to roll down slowly. So up, up. I don't know if you can tell, I'm very jerky. My whole butt just kind of fell. Right? Like really, really quick. But if I use my abs and come down slower. Exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. Actually, you know what? As I look at myself, I don't know if you can tell that I just drop my butt and release my abs. See, that's the thing. No one can tell you're cheating. Might as well cheat, right? Just kidding. You know what you want to get out of this class and these exercises. So do your thing. All right. I've had enough of this. Last one. Exhale, inhale, exhale. Woohoo! My triceps actually are feeling a lot, and that's not wrong because even if I use a lot of triceps, I still feel a lot of abs. So we're getting like an extra bonus workout here of our triceps. Triceps is not considered a core muscle. It doesn't mean it's not worth working. So now we're in our hip bridge. Why? Because it stretches the hip flexors. All that leg lift, piking, there's a lot of hip flexors, so we gotta stretch it out. I'm also gonna focus on some groin stretches today. So you can bring your feet in a little closer together. Normally I don't want your feet touching. I want them like hip distance apart. But for this particular exercise, we're gonna put our feet pretty close together. They might touch a little bit. And then you push up, and then you come to the outer edges of your feet. All right, I'm still squeezing my butt. So external rotation, bring it in to neutral and down. You can do this with your feet hip distance apart, but I find sometimes that I don't have as much range of motion to go out externally when my feet are hip distance. So just figure it out for yourself what works. If I move my feet in a little closer together, I just have greater range as I open up my knees. Let me turn my body here a little bit. You can see it's better. Good. The thing to not do, or to try not to do, I should say, is to let your butt fall. So as my knees go down, I don't want my butt to fall down. Only my knees open and slightly lower, but my butt remains high. And it's actually a little more work for your butt to really squeeze when your knees open up like that. Inhale, exhale, and drop. Exhale, lift. Inhale, open. Exhale, squeeze those inner thighs. Inhale to drop. Exhale, squeeze the butt and abs. Come to neutral. You don't want to go into an arch position where you don't want to hurt the lower back. So just come to neutral. And the thing you want to really emphasize as your knees open up is squeezing your butt upward, just to ensure that there's no way your hips are falling. The other thing you do is kind of tuck your chin and look down the length of your body and look at your hips right here. I'm looking that the hip didn't drop. Right, there's the drop. There's my original height. You can do the same thing with a leg extended. Now, feel free to continue doing what we were just doing. When you have a leg extended, we actually have to take our feet probably a little wider for balance. Press into the floor with your forearms. So come up first. When you extend the leg, obviously, you can't go to the outer edge of this leg anymore. But what you can do is to counterbalance. Let me turn again here. To counterbalance this knee going to the side, I move my straight leg out to the side a little bit as well, too. All right, so it's as if the knees, like this, are still out at the same distance. But you might not move the leg as far out because it's straight, longer lever. So you want to move slowly. Go ahead and alternate. You want to move slowly so that when you lift that leg and you open the knee to the one outer edge, that you feel balanced. Like you're not gonna fall this way or fall the other way. All right, this is pretty challenging. Also to note that you are on the outer edge of your feet, which may or may not feel comfortable when you have only one leg on the ground. So it is still quite effective to keep both legs on the ground. Let's try 2 more on each side at your own pace, or continue with both feet on the ground. So lift, straighten, open, shut, lower, drop. Alternate the breath. Open, close, drop. If you don't need to rest your butt, just keep your butt up. Straighten, open. Let me turn here. It's gonna feel weird. I don't want to like point directly at you guys. Hopefully you can see that the knees are moving up. My butt is staying at the same height. Okay. Whew. All right. So enough of that. So give your butt a little break. Let's do a quick butt stretch here. Ankle over the knee. And quick switch. I'm going to have you prop yourself on your elbows. So if you prop yourself up on your elbows, I could relax and just sort of sink in, but we're not going to. I'm going to press into my forearms, lift my chest, and after I lift my chest, I'm going to imprint my lower back. This is me like arching my lower back, okay? You want to imprint. I know it sounds weird. You want to have sort of a lifted chest but an imprinted lower back. That's kind of similar to what you would be doing if you're on the ground. Now this does feel like kind of a stretch for my shoulders. If that's uncomfortable for you, everything that we're doing in this position can be done here. Okay, so imprint the lower back, abs tight, chest up. Look at the tops of your knees, pretend you smudged ink on it, and you're going to draw a circle with those knees. So my knees, my thighs are moving in a circular motion within my hip socket joints. Try to pretend that your shins and feet don't exist. Like we're just focusing on the knees here. Make a circle with your knees, with the ink smudges on your knees. Get reverse direction. This is the less stressful version to do for your abs. But coordination-wise, it's a little tricky, right? Because it's like your legs, your knees open up a little bit and then they come close. So you can do this with your legs straighter. Does it have to be all the way straight? No. Make your circles. 5 in each direction. Same thigh bone circling in the hip socket, chest up, imprinted lower back. Getting a little shoulder stretch here. 2 more. Chin tucked. Reverse direction. For 5. Feel free to keep your knee bent. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Whew. All right. Do some outer thigh work. Sitting on the knees here, we're going to be on our butts. Rest on one elbow. There should be a straight line from your head, shoulders, hip, and knee. All right, so basically this is a piked position. Looking at top leg only, want to extend that hip. And then from there, you can place the foot right at the thigh to hold it accountable, meaning if I bring this knee over the foot, it's piked. But if I keep it behind the foot, I know it's extended. My hip is still extended. So the only purpose for this leg, besides the fact that where else could it be? I guess it could be out here. The only purpose for this foot is accountability of the back leg. Back leg being the top leg. Okay? Be careful you don't sink into the shoulder. Lift. Working the outer thighs. Neutral foot position, which means the knee and the foot are the same height. Lift your entire shin off the ground parallel. Is that challenging? Stay lifted here. Give me 2 more. And I want you to keep your foot on the ground and lift the knee. This is external rotation. Kneecap face forward, kneecap face up. This almost feels a little easier because, you're resting that back foot on the ground. You don't have to lift it. But this is also working a different muscle. It is your external rotators. 3 more. 2. Now internal, we're going to keep the knee on the ground and lift the foot. This is very challenging in this particular position. All right, so don't worry too much about how high the foot lifts up. This would be a lot easier if our whole torso is on the ground. We're just trying to even things up here. So internal. And then you can do lift, back to neutral, tip, 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 tip. My goal here is to get my shin at different diagonals. And again, internal rotation is really hard in this position, so don't worry too much about internal rotation. See, in the mirror, in the Zoom video, you can see my feet higher than my knees, and then you can see my knees are higher than my feet. You don't have to necessarily touch the foot to the ground. You just have the whole shin and leg off the ground about hip height and just flip the angle of your shin. All right, let's try the other side. Oh. I have to do a quick stretch before the cramping sets in. All right, same thing. Fully lengthened hip, full extension, Front foot, bottom leg, whatever you want to call it, is flush up against the thigh. And then, I don't want you to keep looking at your leg though, but you can look at it a couple of times to make sure that it's not lifting and pulling forward. And then we are going to lift the shin up parallel, meaning the knee and foot come up at the same time and lower at the same time. And the reason I don't want you to keep looking at your leg is because it just throws your whole head and neck out of alignment with your spine. Yeah, external rotation will be easier. Let's go ahead and do that. Foot stays on the ground. If you want a little more challenge, what you can do is just put like your big toe on the ground and put very little weight on it. So that a little more muscles working versus just putting all your weight in the foot and then your leg doesn't have to lift as much. But the very act of rotating is activating the external rotators. There's official names of these external rotator muscles. I just can't think of them right now. I know the 4 names of the quadriceps. No point in saying it. I never have had to use those terms in a fitness class before. Again, internal, but I just can't think of the name for the external rotators right now. I have more internal rotation range of motion on this leg than I do on the other leg. And you'll probably notice that about yourself as well, that, you know, each leg, right and left, is going to behave a little differently. My kneecap face forward, faces downward. And finally, we're going to do our, are you still lifted out of the shoulder? I know you're probably getting a little bit fatigued. We're going to do our, what I call shin angle flips. Feet up, knee down, knee up, feet down. We've done variations of this, just usually not in this position. Anytime you're propped up, definitely more work on the shoulders. Even a little bit here. And hopefully your neck is okay. All right. On to your back. We have a few minutes left. I would like to do rolling like a ball with our legs in seal position. I'm not going to do the seal claps. I'm not a huge fan of that, but I do see the benefit of opening up our hips and our groin by having our knees out. So what you want to do is open the knees, take your hands through your legs, find the outside, the ankle bone. So that's the motion. You can have your feet together. I know we're stuck on the ground right now, but you can use your abs and initiate the rolling. Crunch, crunch. So you're doing a strategic crunching. As I fall back, you know what? Gravity is just pulling you back. Keep your chin tucked so you don't hit the back of your head. Keep the spine round so you can actually roll. And basically, as I feel my butt falling to the ground because of gravity, I time that strategically with my abdominals to crunch. I fall, I crunch, I fall, I crunch. I'm not crunching so much that I'm here, boom, falling on my feet. I'm actually trying to keep this rocking motion going. So for a moment, I'm just sort of balanced on my tailbone. Inhale, fall back. So this is an interesting exercise because we are working our abs, but we're also massaging our spine muscles. Hopefully everyone's mat is cushy enough that you're not like, ow, it really hurts to roll my hardwood floor. All right, last couple. And then just find yourself all the way to the top, all the way up. The thing I said not to do earlier, which is sit all the way up. All right, we're about done with this class. We'll just continue stretching our groin and hips here for a little bit. Take the legs out to the side if that doesn't feel too bad. We don't have to do the straddle splits, but just finding a range of motion that allows you to feel the stretch here in the inner thighs. Bring one arm across to the other. Slide it down. Wherever it ends up, grab that part of your leg and bend the elbow a little bit. When you bend the elbow, it just kind of pulls yourself down towards the thigh, and I feel it across my back. Other side, twist, slide down. Remember, I have not said how far your legs need to be apart, so figure out what works as a stretch for you. Whatever your hand reaches, bend the elbow a little bit. Ooh. Thank you so much for joining me in Pilates today.